Hi again, it's me back once more. A couple of things I want to talk about this week on this wonderful video blog that I do. Just out of interest, it's like 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I've been up for hours, couldn't sleep. Heaven knows why. It's not like anything exciting is happening right now. But anyway, as those of you who know me know, I now do reviews for a company called LondonTheatre1.com. I'll put a link down in the comments box below so you can have a look whenever you feel the urge. But anyway, this week I went to see this play here, there we go, which is called Lady Windermeres Fan by Oscar Wilde. And there was one of the characters in this that in the original review I wrote, which was huge and had to be edited down, I really wanted to explore more. There's a guy called Cecil Graham, played by a young, very good looking actor. And he was very weird because he was really underdeveloped. He appeared in the second scene of Act 1 at Lady Windermere's party, and initially he came across as very cynical, you know, too much money and not enough to do and bored with life type. But the more you saw him and the more you heard him, particularly in scene 1 of Act 2, where he was quite a major character at one point, you sort of wondered, you know, he was either this very, very cynical character, or Oscar Wilde had written him as a sort of closeted but out homosexual, rather like himself. I mean, I did wonder if Wilde had based him on his own personal experiences, because some of the things he said and some of the mannerisms, and I realise a lot of this is down to the directing, but so much of what he said also was about, gave the impression. There's a wonderful line where Lord Windermere, says to him about, you know, could you be in a relationship with a woman who doesn't love you, or you don't love? And he was like, yes. But there was this pause before he said it, and the audience actually laughed, which made me think. God, I've lived in South East London way too long. Made me think that maybe it wasn't just me that was getting this nuance of a big gay man in a play at a time when it was illegal, and Oscar Wilde obviously went to jail for it. So really interesting character. The only thing I didn't really understand, and I didn't put this in the review, but he actually saw Lady Windermere leave the flat of Lord, let's see if I remember his name, Lord Darlington, and that never went anywhere. It's almost like Wilde planned to do slightly more, but didn't. But it also left you with this feeling of what happens next. Does Cecil blackmail Lady Windermere later on, or Lord Darlington himself? Well, it was very, very interesting. Really great play. So the King's Head Theatre in Islington, I would seriously recommend it. To be honest, I would recommend everything I've seen recently, because I haven't seen a dud. Sorry, excuse me. I have seen so many great plays and shows, and one of the things I really love about doing this reviewing is the fact that I have seen so much good stuff, and stuff that I wouldn't normally have gone to myself. Maybe if other people were going, I'd join them or something. But, you know, The Home Front, a musical about 3 homeless people, When You Wave Me Goodbye, a musical about the Second World War, Moonshots, which I think I spoke about in my last one. You know, so many great things. This evening I'm actually going to see something called Sapphire Soul at the Hippodrome, and I have no idea what it's going to be like, but I'm really looking forward to it. So that's it on the reviewing front. I really wonder, this character Cecil in here really intrigued me. He was brilliantly played by a guy called Nathan Lubbock Smith, and yeah, the character himself really, really intrigued me. Anyway, what else was I going to talk about? Oh yes, it was interesting. I was having a conversation with someone the other day about another project that I may be getting involved in soon, but I'll let you know about that probably next month. Hopefully I'll know something next month. And she was asking me, do I ever have thoughts or opinions which other people would find controversial or disagree with? And there was something came to mind on this. The other week, I think it was last week, there was a UKIP councillor who said, you know, he said something really that was picked up by the press and massively inflamed about politicians should take lessons from Hitler about how to engage with people. Now then, let's make this obvious. I'm not a UKIP fan. According to them, every time I have sex, it rains somewhere, and if I was to ever get married, a hurricane would hit. So, definitely not a UKIP fan. I'm not a Hitler fan either. He had a tendency to make chaps like me wear little pink triangles and go on one-way visits to his camps. So, in both of those, I totally disagree with them and their philosophy and everything. But what I was thinking, and what I did say to this lady I was talking to, was it was interesting because if you mention Hitler, immediately everything must be negative. But the reality is, and I think most historians will agree, and if you ever watch any of his speeches, was that he was a charismatic speaker. He knew how to work an audience. Now, the message he gave was completely wrong and horrible, but it somehow worked, and he came across as a fantastic orator. Similar in some respects, I'm doing it now actually, similar in some respects to Tony Blair when he first started, and we had that belief in him. When in 1997, alright, the speech wasn't written by him, but I don't think most of Hitler's were written by him either, but let's be honest. But he delivered the whole, when the day that Princess Diana died, the whole People's Princess, the way he delivered it, it was all about the delivery. Cameron in some respects does the same, and these guys obviously are very good at marketing and PR. Cameron particularly, he was a PR man before he went into politics, I believe. So it is interesting, but what I found really interesting with this was the way this UKIP guy was completely vilified by the press for saying what he said, when in fact all he said was, listen to the way the guy speaks. That was it. Listen to how he emotes, how he brings his emotions into the speeches he gave. So once again, just to reiterate, I disagree with UKIP entirely. Hitler and I, not best buddies, none of his friends, although to be honest the uniforms were lovely, what can I say, but none of the, but I think there was an example where the press is very quick to leap on something without actually thinking about it. They saw the word UKIP, they saw the word Hitler, and they just went for it, bam, straight in. Unfair press bias, I think. Speaking of unfair press, I think the other thing this week which has been horrendous is the business with Cliff Richard. He was vilified. It was amazing. The day after all that happened was a house that he owned was raided by the police. Somehow all the media knew about it. I'm sure there was no tip-offs at all, but it was raided. And the next day I remember I went into the paper shop, and every single paper had got, it on its front page, Cliff, I'm innocent, Cliff, I didn't do it, Cliff, da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. That's terrible. There's no accusations being made about Cliff Richard. There's nothing being said about him. He's always been a bit of an enigma, it's true, but the reality is nothing's happened. All that happened was the police went to his house. So once again, the media, and I'm not in favour of complete and utter control of the press. I think we see what happens in Putin's Russia with stuff like that, but someone needs to control them somehow. There needs to be, Levinson came up with some great ideas. Most of these are being watered down because the politicians are too scared to take on the press and the media. And that's life, I'm afraid. So that's it, a bit of a rant at the end there, sorry, didn't really mean to. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.